If you want to support these projects, head over to mulliganbrothers.com, where you can now buy the Inspire Change t-shirts and much, much more. And please consider becoming a YouTube member with the join button down below. Before that, let's jump into the highlights.
We're just speaking about the Instagram stuff, and I think like with that, I see a lot of like self-entitlement on Instagram, and I love in the book it says, the world owes you nothing, and I think that's a really powerful statement, one that a lot of people can't get their heads around. How do we come to terms with that?
There's so many people right now that talk about things like karma and law of attraction, and a lot of those principles have really gotten twisted to the point where people think that they're entitled. So somebody might say, well, I'm a good person. I did 4 good deeds yesterday, so now I deserve to have 5 good deeds done back to me today. And they're keeping score. Or somebody else will say, well, I'm a really hard worker, so I deserve success. I put in a lot of effort, so I deserve to be rich, or I deserve to be happy. Again, that's not how the world works. That there's nobody out there saying, well, if you put in this many hours, or if you work this hard on this one project, that it'll come back to you tenfold. Or just because you're nice and you help somebody out of the goodness of your heart, doesn't mean 5 people are going to be nice to you tomorrow. And when you keep score about those things, it's going to make your life a lot worse, because you're always going to feel like you deserve more. So it's important to really start to focus on, what do I have to give? What do I have maybe that I don't deserve? I'm a huge fan of gratitude, and just recognizing the things that you have in your life, whether it's the clean air that you breathe or fresh water to drink. Those things are really big, that even though they seem small, it's huge that we have that. And even on your worst day, there's always something to be grateful for. And just practicing gratitude is really good for your mental health and your overall well-being. And in the bigger picture, it keeps you from feeling like you have this sense of entitlement, that you deserve more than you already have.
Yeah, and I do also think with the sense of entitlement as well, is then when life does throw something at you, something happens, it's out of your control. If you really feel the world owes you something and that happens, it's so destructive. One of my biggest fears is, I feel like I always used to say to myself, I've paid my dues. Like the worst has happened to me, I've paid my dues. And for yourself, I guess after your mum passed, that's probably how you felt. And then something else happens as well. And it's like, how do we, so it is preparing for the world owes you nothing. Does that help with those kind of situations as well?
It is tough when we've had bad things happen, because we do think, I've paid my dues, I went through hard times, I now deserve something really good to happen. And sometimes people will say that to me, like, oh, it's so good you got to write a book and you get to do all of these really cool things now because you went through such hard times. Well, it doesn't even out. It's not like I have really happy things that have happened to me now because I deserved it, because I went through really tough times. And trust me, it doesn't even out. If I could get rid of all of the happy things that happened and the sad things, it wouldn't come out even anyway. But we have that desire to think, okay, good things should happen to people who've gone through hard times so that life somehow is fair in the end. But that's not how life works. There's nobody making sure that everything is equal. And just recognizing that sometimes can be helpful. It's hard at first to think, okay, just because I've been through tough times, I now don't deserve greatness. But on the other hand, knowing that just because you've suffered for a long time, it also doesn't mean that you're doomed to suffer for the rest of your life either.
Okay, and then also, I mean, a lot of what we're talking about in this is a lot of long-term thinking, like a willingness to really put time into it. And you spoke about like how detrimental it can be for short-term thinking and immediate results. So, what first of all, like how detrimental again can the want of immediate results be? And I think a lot of that is coming from social media, but yeah, your own thoughts, like what does that mean to want immediate results, and how can we change to long-term thinking?
We live in a world where so many things happen immediately. If you want to watch a movie, you download it instantly. You want to buy a book, you can read the ebook right now. If you want to order something online, you can get it delivered to your door so fast. Because of that, we tend to think that almost everything should happen fast. So people will come into my therapy office and they'll say, well, therapy doesn't work. And I'll have to remind them that it's only been 2 weeks, that they had depression for 8 years, and we're not going to get rid of that in just 2 weeks. We want that quick fix though. And if we aren't seeing the results that we want in week 1 or week 2, we often think, well, this isn't going to work. I need to do something else. So we don't want to waste any time on working on a goal and putting in the hard work if we think we aren't going to see results. But self-improvement doesn't work like that. Changing yourself, changing the patterns that you have, changing your behaviors, changing the way you think takes a long time, because it took you a long time to get to where you are now. And it's going to take a long time to sort of unlearn those things that you're doing and to create new patterns. So whether you want to change some of your health issues, you want to give up a bad habit, you want to start exercising in the morning as opposed to never hitting the gym, it's not going to happen overnight. Or if you want to lose weight, it's not going to happen in 1 week. It may take months, it may take years to get there. And one of the things we can do is just hold ourselves accountable. It goes back to, what can I do today? What's my goal for the week? Rather than what's my goal for the year? Sometimes we create these giant New Year's resolutions, and we know they don't work because people give up on them after just a couple of weeks, because often the goal just feels too big. So I always encourage people to figure out what's a short-term objective and what's one step you can take today to get a little closer to that, and how are we going to track your progress? So for example, they found when people wanted to go to the gym more often, just having a calendar and putting an X on the calendar on the days that they actually worked out made a huge difference. They didn't do anything different other than just looking at their calendar occasionally. Those little small steps sometimes can go a long way towards keeping us motivated, keeping us on the right track, and helping us stay in it for the long term, so that we know, all right, even though I'm not going to reach my giant goal today, I'm at least making some movement toward that goal.
If somebody's been stuck in like a lull, maybe like for the last 4 or 5 years, and they don't have the desire for change, but maybe they require it, but they're starting to seek help, like how would you get that person to sort of step out of that and start to pursue something else?
So when somebody is in a place where they aren't 100% convinced that they want to change their life, we often look at what they're getting out of staying where they are. So if somebody says, gosh, I eat a lot of junk food, my doctor's telling me I should get healthier, but I'm not sure yet, or I don't understand it, or my doctor's putting all this pressure on me. Because I get a lot of those people that land in my therapy office, not necessarily because they want to change, but because somebody else sends them there. Then I don't tell them, I don't try to convince them that they should. I leave it up to them. I ask a lot of questions like, what do you get out of what's going on in your life right now? If you're eating tons of junk food and you're not taking care of your health, what's the benefit? You don't have to be uncomfortable. You enjoy eating these things. You like not going to the gym. You enjoy not exercising. Okay, well, what are the potential consequences of that? It's taking a toll on your health. You might develop all of these other health problems. Really just looking at that and then asking them questions. Is there anything that you want to do differently tomorrow? And somebody might say, I don't want to change my whole life, but I'll make one small change. Might be that they start to eat breakfast even though they hadn't eaten breakfast in the last decade, or they swap out one snack for a healthier snack. Sometimes just making those little changes helps somebody see, okay, it's not as bad as I thought. I can handle this. And then they build the confidence to say, I can try one more thing. And when we change our lives in little increments, often those are the changes that stick. Sometimes I see people who want to change everything about their life starting tomorrow, and it's really hard to maintain those changes. So sometimes we just take one really small step at a time, and then it feels like it's doable.
If you enjoyed the video, please consider going to mulliganbrothers.com, where you can now buy the new Inspire Change t-shirts, the LFG t-shirts, the Hardest Worker in the Room t-shirts. Everybody who's been supporting us has made this project possible, and projects like this in the future possible. We cannot fly all around the world with our film crew and ourselves and do these interviews and documentaries without your support. So thank you very much. The support has been amazing and we appreciate it. Also, there is a join button down below where you can consider becoming a YouTube member of this channel by hitting that join button. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to follow us on the behind the scenes stuff of our editor, at Niamh Mulligan, X on Instagram, or at Jordan Mulligan Brother for myself on Instagram as well, you can see what we get up to on a day-to-day basis. Thank you for watching. Have a blessed and productive day. Go inspire some change, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.